Hi, everybody. Dorothy here, Professional Astrologer. You can find me on the web right here, nhastrologer.com, and there you can read this forecast. It's not word for word. I tend to ad-lib here after I've written it out and get my thoughts together. I talk about in this forecast the overall energy of the week and what I see coming up. So no matter what your zodiac sign is, you can use this information to navigate your week with a little more help and clarity. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm also going to share the screen here because I love to teach. So those astrologers who are learning how to work and use aspects, I kind of point them out, and I'll teach a little bit here as we do that too. So let me share my screen. There we go. And let's get started. So here is the week of May 25th all the way to May 31st. I love this time of year. It's so Gemini, and I'm a Gemini, and it's just like my fave, right? This is a chart that I tend to look at when I first pop up anybody's chart or even an event chart, because it's important for me to see a whole bunch of different things all at once. I get to see the nearest eclipses, and we have 3 eclipses coming up. That will be our next lunation events. So I'll have those up early. The grid over here is the same thing as this in here. I do not use any asteroids when I'm doing forecasting like this because there's already a lot to talk about, just using the planets. This line, this bar up here is just, I can see what the planets are from 0 to 30. And here is the declination. You can tell if planets are parallel, contraparallel, or out of bounds. So let's get started. I want to talk about that right off the bat, the planets that are out of bounds. The moon popped out of bounds just a day or so ago, and it's not going any further than this declination right here. What does it mean? I see Mercury and Venus right here out of bounds, as well as the moon for just 2 days, 25, 26. It shifts back inbounds on the 27th. When planets are out of bounds, the sign they're in, the planet, how it expresses itself through the sign that it's in, it becomes it amplifies it, right? So Mercury in Gemini creates, it's just intense information. That's what Mercury in Gemini is all about. Lots of information. The moon in Cancer, heightened emotions. Venus in Gemini, retrograde, lots of information, lots of people coming back into our lives, paperwork needing to be redone. All of these things are what's going on right now, and especially this beginning of this week, the 25th, 26th, and 27th, because these are the final days that Mercury is in its sign for this year. And when Mercury is at, or any planet is at the final signs, it is also a level of intensity or urgency, or we just get overwhelmed. So lots and lots of information. That's Mercury in Gemini all the way Monday, all the way until Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, when it shifts into Cancer. And in addition, with Mercury and Venus parallel, they're not conjunct anymore, but they are parallel by their placement in the sky. They act like a conjunction, so they feel intense, the intensity of that too. All right, Venus retrograde in Gemini for the main part of this is focusing on that information, focusing overload, paperwork coming back to you. Feels like Mercury retrograde. That happens in a couple of weeks in the sign of Cancer. But right now, Venus is retrograde in Gemini. So we have all of this stuff going on, information overload. All right, so that's the first 3.5 days of this week. So we also have in this time period, moon in the sign of Cancer. So moon is in the sign of Cancer all the way until early in the morning on Wednesday, the 27th. So with the moon in the sign of Cancer and it's out of bounds, here, I'll animate this chart, see if it lets me animate it. Screen share has paused. I need to do a new share here. Here we go. There we go. Thank you. So when we have, I said thank you to myself. Here it is as, I have it on the 28th. Let me just go back a couple of days. Here's the moon in Cancer. And as it's moving through that sign of Cancer, what we have, and it will come to be in oppositions. Here, I'm just going to share this chart first. Okay, let's go back to the screen share. Mhm. Is this the one I want? Yes, here it is. When we get to the 26th, Moon in Cancer, opposite Pluto. All right, that's Tuesday. So this creates a sense of drama. We can be feeling very dramatic, very overwhelmed, very emotional. This is all of this energy. Again, the Cancer energy. We are a Cancer nation. So with the moon, whenever it moves through that sign once a month, we have a lot of emotion going on and a lot of heightened emotion. And we would see that in the news more than just in our own personal lives, unless you have Cancer planets. So here's the other connection that the moon makes on Tuesday, and that's a little after 9 p.m. on the east coast of the U.S., and that's in opposition to Jupiter. Again, that would be very expansive in nature. So we can really figure out, all right, I'm overly emotional. How can I get myself a little more grounded? That's the Capricorn energy. All right, that's Monday, Tuesday. A little more information about Monday and Tuesday. Thursday and Friday, Wednesday and Thursday, not much for Friday, but Wednesday and Thursday, the only time this week we actually have fire in the chart, and that's when the moon is in the sign of Leo, right? So we have that on Wednesday and Thursday. So that is about being creative. But first thing in the morning, the moon's going to be, when it first enters on Wednesday. Let's see if I can animate this without it turning off on me. Let's get to Wednesday. Here's that. And then watch this. We're going to go back a few hours, okay? Watch the planet turn. It's pretty cool. This is the planet going backwards. I'm making it spin reverse. Here is when the moon and Saturn are in opposition, 5:42 a.m. Eastern time zone. So the moon in Leo, right? The moon in Leo, only fire we have this week, right? For 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday. Very creative, very expressive, but opposite Saturn right now. So first thing in the morning on Wednesday, we'll have a few hurdles to get over, but by the time we get to the afternoon and evening, the moon will be in an exact square to Uranus. So inspiration can show up here. We'll go forward again. All right. And we'll get to that. And that would be right here where the moon squares Uranus. We have an opportunity for inspiration. So it can start off a little slow, but we can use, this is the only fire we have. So the rest of the week, we're just going to be either really grounded and just doing our thing and being strict, or we're going to be emotional because there's just a ton of water and air going on in this chart. So we're going to be thinking things through and tapping into the emotions. These 2 days, we have this moon in Leo, fiery energy, really great to get things accomplished, right? So make sure you do the best you can to find that piece and just tap into that, because the rest of the time we're just going to be emotional and really thinking things through analytically because of the Gemini stuff, but rethinking things, right? Venus retrograde. All right. Moving on to Thursday, the 28th. This is when Mercury enters the sign of Cancer. He's going to stay in Cancer till early August because he will retrograde in a couple of weeks. Starts right at that, right, retrogrades right in the middle of Cancer. So May 28th at 2:09 p.m. Eastern time zone, Mercury leaves Gemini, lets go of all those details of information and hands it off to Venus. And now we got to tap into the emotion. At this time as well, the Mercury makes that conjunction to the lunar north node in Cancer. So we're able to really emotionally connect to that collective consciousness, the collective feel. So this can be tricky for some of us because if you're over feeling, this can make you feel even more. This can really heighten your sensitivities, right? And again, since that lunar north node is almost done, it'll be moving into Gemini Sag soon. They've been in Cancer Capricorn for 18 months. They'll be shifting out soon, but on this day, the 28th, while Mercury and North Node are together, we have this opportunity to really tap into that collective feel and that collective emotion. Now, what is it for you? You're going to have to decide how you're working with this. You can, if it's too much and it's overwhelming, then you figure out what's good for you and how you can step back and not be so emotionally connected to what's going on. It's okay to take care of yourself. It's okay to detach if it's too much. We have to pay attention. We need our emotions, trusting our emotions. This is something that we're going to learn while Mercury is in the sign of Cancer, and it's going to be in that sign for a long time, usually 3 weeks, whips right through. But this time we have a little over 2 months of it in that sign of Cancer. We're going to have opportunities to tap into how we feel. Mercury is a thinking, analytical, information gathering planet. But through the sign of Cancer, that means we have to filter that through our emotions. I hope that makes sense. So we're taking information and we're going to filter it through our emotions. And that's what we're going to learn for the 2 months while it's in that sign. And today, on the 28th, that first moment, it moves into those 0 cardinal degrees with the lunar north node. Just important. This is the important thing of the whole week. That's why I'm staying on this for a little bit longer. This is the important thing, really tapping into your emotion and getting in alignment with that and taking care of that in the way that you need to take care. In my written forecast, I know I talked about taking your energy, and if you're tapped into that collective and it feels yucky, then it's okay to detach and focus on the things that help you feel better and feel more nurtured. Okay? Doesn't mean those things don't exist. We're not sticking our head in the sand. We're taking care of ourselves. And when bad or yucky emotions come up, or just tough emotions come up, then you address it and then move through it so you're able to heal it. We're in such a period of opportunity for healing right now because of all of these because of the extreme situation that we're in. And again, when we have Mercury in Cancer, we have an opportunity to do that. This is also the degree where we're going to have a new moon eclipse on June 21st. Hold on, geez, you think I have that in my brain? It is. So on June 21st, depending on where you live, honestly, because in some areas, let me turn my pages and get the exact number. Because some areas, depending on where you live, like if you're in the Pacific time zone, it's going to be on Saturday the 20th, but on June 21st or 20th, we have a new moon eclipse at 0 Cancer. So I want us to really pay attention to this on the 28th. Pay attention to what's coming up. Pay attention to what emotions are stirred up, because that eclipse, the new moon eclipse, it's the second one in the season. The first one's June 5th, then this the 21st of June, and then July 5th. So we have this opportunity to initiate something new. Now's the time to get that started. So important. This is a prerequisite to the eclipse. Typically, these things don't happen, so when they do, we definitely want to pay attention to them. All right, that was a lot. All right, let's see what's next. All right, I moved on to May 29th. Here we are. And the aspect for today, I mean, we have the moon in Virgo now, so we really are, our intention, after all of the Leo energy and being creative, now our attention is to become a little more detail-oriented, earthy, grounded, all right? That's the moon in Virgo, very logical, very practical, focusing on the details. See how the sign Mercury actually rules in traditional astrology. And so what we have here is Mercury in Cancer. It's only at 1 degree, but it's making a very hard aspect to Saturn in Aquarius. And so when we have this happens at 8:30 at night on Friday night. So with that energy, we are, this can create unusual communication. It can create difficult communication. While we've been gung-ho and really talking up a storm and gathering information throughout this week, when this aspect happens, it'll be in the evening and it'll last most of the day. We'll feel it all day. It just creates this understanding that we adjustments need to be made. Saturn in Aquarius, that quincunx, is a difficult aspect in the sense that anytime we think we understand something and we're settled, more information or something outside of us comes in and we have to readjust and readjust. And that's what that quincunx energy is about. So if you're having trouble and doing things like because of Venus retrograde or any other energies, if you're having trouble and you're having to constantly redo things or redo paperwork, by the time we get to this aspect, and which is really late Friday night, hopefully throughout the day on Friday, you may be, well, not hopefully, because that doesn't sound great at all. Probably on Friday, we're going to be overwhelmed with some details, Moon in Virgo, that we're constantly needing to adjust to. So stay on your toes. Don't be too rigid, I guess is the best way to use this. Don't be too rigid in your what you understand and what you're working on on Friday. Just allow things to be what they are. So whatever presents itself, you can just make that adjustment and then move forward. And then when something else presents itself, make that adjustment and move forward. Because we'll be feeling this again all day on Friday. And even as the planets are coming together, we're going to feel it for a few days coming up to this point. It's just the 29th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time is when it peaks. After that, it's a separating aspect, and we won't feel that so much throughout the weekend. It will just be a little less work. Now, the last aspect I want to talk about today, it's not even an aspect. I just want to talk about that the moon enters the sign of Libra, and this is around 10:30 in the morning on Sunday. So now after all of some of these very overwhelming aspects and too much information, we actually have an opportunity just to sort of relax, chill out. It's an air trine over to Saturn, which is really not a bad thing at all. It's really easy. We have 2 other planets in the air signs. So we have a lot of air here. So that gives us this opportunity to really engage in Moon in Libra, harmonious aspects, harmonious feelings, just a moment in a day to sit down, to relax, and to hopefully feel like, okay, it's a Sunday, let's chill out and give us a little more, smooth over those rough edges, willing to compromise with others, and others are willing to compromise with you. And it just feels a lot easier considering some of the other things that we've already been going through this week. Still a lot of water in the sky though, so we still have a fair amount of emotion. All right. And again, the overall energy here, there is no fire. I know the rising sign here is fire, but just for practicality's sake, the point is not a lot of get up and go here. So we're working with what is, and we're not really moving forward fast at all. We're taking our time because there's just nothing supporting fast movement at this moment in time. So that's it for now. NHastrologer.com. I'm going to stop my share and come see me there. And thank you, everybody, for your time, and especially those who have been getting in contact with me for your own personal information. Thank you very much. Blessings. Namaste.